Well, hello viewers at home. It's good to know that you are there. Once again, my name is Efficient, and I want to welcome you to another, episode of the issue. And today, I will be talking about a very important issue, which is the recall of Senator Dino Melaye, representing Kogi West Senatorial District. Recall of Senator Dino Melaye. Of course, I don't want to talk about this issue because uh, I want to make sure as much as possible that I move away from controversies and issues that is a little bit too much of politics, that is has a too much root in politics. But the event that has occurred in the last 3 days ago, uh, make it promptly want to say that this is the issue that we cannot just bypass, and it's of importance that we discuss this issue. Now, Senator Dino Melaye recall process. Of course, Dino Melaye is somebody I adored and I respected so much. I could recollect back in the days in the House of Representatives, when Dimeji Bankole was the Speaker of the House. He was one of few honorables who were very outspoken, who are fearless, who stand up for what is right, and he's one of a few politicians who never feared, you know, foes to make sure he says whatever is in his mind. No matter how hard you take it, he's going to say it. And this is one of the qualities that is scarce among Nigerian politicians, particularly in this time that politicians are desperate to appeal to the electorate to gather their vote. There's a lot of deceit all around. So for you to actually know a particular politician that is saying the truth is hard. But Dino Melaye, to a large extent, I'm not saying he's a saint, but according to his history and what I've been, the few things I know about him, he's been outspoken and very audible. Of course, I couldn't forget that famous anti-corruption crusade. Dino Melaye was one of those who led series of marches against former President Goodluck Jonathan to agitate for some things about uh, you know, some monies have been misappropriated, and he played a crucial role in the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari of the APC, by as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But of course, that is by the way, that is history. But of course, that activities on the other hand creates a neighbor environment for him to have an easy passage in APC Kogi West Senatorial District by getting the nomination of the party, and of course defeating another person I still love, Senator Smart Adeyemi, who I believe has done very well by representing Kogi West, in the Senate in terms of his contribution, his submission, and then anytime I watch Senator Smart Adeyemi on the floor of the Senate, he's always one of the few senators that I believe that deserve to stay in Senate forever. Another somebody I love, fall in love like that is when Senator Lombe Mamora was also in the Senate. Mamora, one of the senators representing Lagos, but sometimes you begin to ask yourself, at the point you begin to ask yourself that at the point this democratic process is not fair, because when you look at popularity, competency, and accountability, but that is not where we want to go today. But the media trials of Senator Dino Melaye, how does it begin? Because I want us to pick this issue from the onset, because people have been discussing this matter from the surface, but I want to try as much as possible to make sure I go into the source of this crisis. Now, Senator Dino Melaye put himself in the forefront of the media immediately after the election of President Muhammadu Buhari and the secured ticket to the National Assembly. He came out openly to support Senator Bukola Saraki for the post of the Senate President against the party choice of Senator Lawan. Of course, he has every right to follow whoever he wanted to support. It's his fundamental right. Of course, it's not only Melaye that supported Senator Bukola Saraki, but Senator Dino played a very crucial role in making sure that he handled some of the proceedings. At some point, he almost became the spokesperson for the group that wanted Bukola Saraki in the Senate. And don't forget that he identified with Senator Bukola Saraki to the point during this trial, the code CCTV code conduct tribunal, and when he's being charged for the false declaration of asset, he stood with the Senate president, and one or few occasions granted an interview to make people know that the trial of the Senate president was basically on which hunted, is that some leadership of the party are trying to engineer it. Fair enough. Now, and if you recollect, another outburst, another scenario that put Dino Melaye in the eyes of the public was the outburst between him and Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the former First Lady of Lagos State and Senator representing Lagos Central at the National Assembly. When there were issues, don't forget, Remi Tinubu is the wife of the APC national leadership, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Of course, you know that the wife of a general is always a general. Perhaps Senator Remi Tinubu wants some level of treatment, which Dino Melaye believe that she doesn't needed to be accorded such a respect. It was an issue where started throwing words, shouting on each other's. It was awful on social media when we had rumors that Dino Melaye was threatening not to come to Lagos. But the very weekend of that event, Dino Melaye found his way to Lagos, particularly in Ikoyi, where I came across a picture of him selling stuff in somewhere around Bodinum. Of course, it's right. Every Nigerian should be able to have right to move wherever they want to move to. Don't forget, after that, we had another issue of Sahara reporters, led by Omoyele Sowore, saying that Dino Melaye did not graduate from Abu. This issue generated a lot of controversies. Facts were presented, figures were presented, and so many things. Pictures were flying around the internet, and at the end of the day, the issue was resorted, which has to cause the vice chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University to come to the Senate committee that was set up to investigate this matter to clear that truth. Senator Melaye graduated with third class in geography department, and that was it. And the aftermath of that led to the suspension of Senator Alimadu Sharif, who was seen as somebody who mastermind and engineer at the investigative process against Senator Dino Melaye. And then another popular issue was the writing of books by Senator Dino Melaye called The Antidote of Corruption. I was surprised, I was amazed. I didn't know Senator Dino Melaye was this gifted and this talented that he can put together a very solid book. I've seen the book, but I've not read it. They call it The Antidote of Corruptions, where somebody that is engulfed with parliamentary duties, attending sittings, still have a time to still sit down and put something together. I've been working on a particular books now for the past 3 years. I've not been able to have an headway. The book is still very much in process, and for Dino Melaye to be able to come up with this material, it shows that it's very brilliant. Well, we might not say, of course, there are times where you consult some ghost writers that will write on your behalf. That's why we have copyright all over the places, since if you can afford it. But it's all good. But the launching of that book generated a lot of controversies, where we see guests that was invited to witness the launching of that book. Some of them are first-class citizens who are on the radar of the FCC, have 1 or 2 other cases to answer, like Patient Jonathan and Bukola Saraki, among other people. He has every right to invite whoever I want to invite. Of course, if I want to do my launching, it am at my prerogative to invite whoever I want to invite. But we are talking about a moral opinion. What would be people happen bringing President Jonathan to witness a book, to launch a book that is tagged against corruptions? What does the body language mean? That perhaps President Jonathan is being witch hunted, or a trials is not constitutional. That is an issue for another day. Of course, we have there's also an issue where we say that all these issues just trying to create a background of how we get to this where we are now. On the other hand, we couldn't say that Dino Melaye is entirely in control of his constituency, because we have a very strong candidate in terms of Smart Adeyemi. And when you look at the margin, the election result, the margin between Smart Adeyemi, PDP and APC in Kogi West wasn't that much. It shows Dino Melaye was on ground, while Smart Adeyemi too was basically on ground. Now, to go to the issue of recall, Dino Melaye has laid claims, particularly pointing and accusing fingers on the governor of Kogi State, in person of Governor Yaya Bello, saying that Yaya Bello was the reasons why he wants him to be recalled, and based on the fact that he criticized Governor Yaya Bello, saying that Governor Yaya Bello did not pay salary for 15 months and salary arrears of workers, and he believed that is not the right thing to do. As a government, you must be able to pay the salary of your workers. Fair enough, good argument. In fact, I give it to Dino Melaye, because paying salary of workers, owing worker salary, has become things that Nigerian governor has seen it as if it's a natural thing. Virtually, there is no state in Nigeria that they are not being owing workers. So Dino Melaye come up with a claim that Governor Yaya Bello distributed about 200 million across 7 local governments in his constituency to make sure that his recall process was actualized. And now, when we look about this recall process, some Nigerians are hearing this for the first time. There are so many clauses inside in the constitutions that we don't know they exist, because there has not been issues to talk about it. Now, recall process actually exists, and then historically, we've not nobody has been recalled in the history of Nigeria. But the American style of democracy that we embraced, we've seen situation whereby in 2012 there was an attempt to recall a governor of Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker, which did not fall through. But before that, a governor of California was successfully recalled in the person of Governor Gray Davis. So there is a precedent. It's not as if the clause is just there in the constitution. Of course, we model our democracies towards the American style of of system of government. But if it has been happening in America, that should can happen here in 2003. A governor of California, Gray Davis, was recalled by his constituency. Now, when you look at all this process, because when people hear about being recalled, some people believe that it's something that can never be achieved, and Nigerians cannot. It's not possible for you, because when you look at the process for you to recall a senator. Now, let me take you through the process to recall a senator in Nigeria, according to the Constitution of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, Section 69. There is a lot of process there, but I'll just pinpoint about 3 process. One, for you to recall a senator, more than half of the regular voters in the senatorial district must write, signed a petition to the chairman of the INEC alleging loss of confidence in that very particular candidate. More than half of the registered voters, not people who reside in that senatorial district. Of course, you may reside in the senatorial district, you may not be registered voters. And number 2, after this being done, the petition must be signed, arranged according to polling unit, ward, and local government. That is, arranging these petitions and signatures according to the polling units, the wards, local government, and constituency. Then the third one, then INEC will now notify the senator. That's the third person. After INEC has received, they will now notify the senator that sought to be recalled, stating that it has received the petition on his recall. If the petition is valid, now INEC will now consult the senators that want to be recalled, that we have received this kind of petitions on your behalf, and then we want you to know that we verify all the signatures and they are genuine. Then after that, we move to the 5th one. Then INEC will now verify the signs, which must be individual appear on the voters register. Now, excuse me, INEC will after that now verify these signatures, match it, look into all these signatures as to what they have in their own register to know if Mr. A is actually the Mr. A in the INEC register was actually the Mr. A that is signing the recall process. Then after that, INEC will now conduct a referendum. After that referendum, and into more than 50% of 50% plus one of the signature was verified, there will be a referendum. After this referendum, INEC will now write a petitioner. We write a petitioner, and after you continue like that, there will be a referendum that must be conducted within 90 days. And after that 90 days, within the referendum, if the majority of the constituents said yes, then they will return it back to the Senate President, notifying him of the recall process, how successful the recall process went, and the reason for such a particular senator to be recalled. Then the Senate President will show that the affected senator annexed it off from the chamber. Now, looking at all this process, you will understand that it is difficult for someone to achieve this process if strings are not being put somewhere. Because you could imagine, if I decided today that I wanted us to start a recall process for a senator representing my constituency, how many people do I want to mobilize? How far can I go with this process? Would I be boast of mobilizing people in my unit, in my polling unit, not to talk of my ward? Which means, for you to carry out this exercise, somebody somewhere, there must be an interest of a godfatherism, or somebody must be dictating the tunes, or somebody is financing the project, which make me want to support the claim of Senator Dino Melaye, in all fairness. And on the other hand, we must understand that democracy is a continuous process.